Yes, my name is Jolanta Bartyzel, and I'm actually not in the project, and so you have to treat my presentation as a kind of supplement to the whole discussion. But since I've been occupying the position of Erasmus coordinator in the Institute of American Studies, I was invited by Małgosia to share some opinions and some comments on the exchange program, and I decided to concentrate on the idea of cosmopolitanism. After Professor Bauman's lectures, I think that it is the right concept, because although he didn't refer directly to cosmopolitanism, he really had it in mind all the time, referring to, for example, the openness or to cooperation. Remember, unfortunately, we will see no pictures. Yes, that's fine. It's okay. That's okay. Let's start. Maybe I should concentrate on the idea on the concept of cosmopolitanism, which in common perception is treated or means is based on the assumption that the homeland of a man is the whole world, and citizenship should extend beyond borders. Discuss the concept of cosmopolitanism is extremely popular. Gerard Delandy, Robert Fine, or Chris Ramford. But first of all, Ulrich Beck, he is like the icon of European cosmopolitanism. And he also underlined this dual character of cosmopolitanization and understands it as a no-linear dialectical process in which the universal and particular, the similar and dissimilar, the global and the local, are to be conceived not as cultural polarities, but as interconnected and reciprocally interpenetrating principles. That's his understanding of cosmopolitanism. As you see, it corresponds with this very first ancient meaning, understanding of the concept. I like the idea which was developed actually by Stoics about the human eagerness, the human aspirations to know better, to be better by meeting others simply. Ulrich Beck calls it yes, a kind of, that's how he perceives it, as an egoistic desire to be cosmopolitan means that we want to know more and understand better. That's how he understands that meeting the foreign is not experienced and assessed as dangerous, disintegrating and fragmenting, but as enriching. This also refers to what Professor Bauman said. Beck continues, my curiosity about myself and about difference makes others irreplaceable for me. Hence, there is an egoism of cosmopolitan interest. So we really become cosmopolitan, we open to otherness because for our own interests. I must say that in Poland, cosmopolitanism wasn't a very popular ideology, because in Polish cultural tradition, the cosmopolitan attitude was very often negatively evaluated. This probably resulted from all painful experiences, historical experiences Poland went through. And the most appreciated were always these patriotic and nationalistic attitudes, which somehow rejected the openness to otherness, and they are cultivating own culture and traditions. Cosmopolitanism was also very often associated with the stranger, as the stranger, the foreign. And the stranger and the foreigner were very often in our history the enemy. That's probably why we as a nation were not very open become cosmopolitan. It wasn't a very cosmopolitan ideology.
For those who don't know,
As Bartyzel suggests, and also other eminent scholars, for example, Stefan Wolf, German political scientist, that the program developed a kind of new generation of young Europeans. They called them the Erasmus generation. And my basic research questions were how the Erasmus program helped Polish students to become more cosmopolitan in the sense of openness to otherness and through otherness in discovering new truths about themselves, and to what extent the social media helped them in the process of becoming cosmopolitan. Learning from others, part of cosmopolitan, also important factor of cosmopolitanism as a concept. After interviewing them, I found out that the Erasmus stay didn't bring a big change. They didn't really go through any cultural shock. They mentioned some little things that changed their life. They modified their life, maybe not changed, but modified their life. In this cultural sense, the cultural differences, but the Erasmus stay as an experience, as a life experience, was very important for them. Some of them call it even a rite of passage because they were independent, they had to rely on themselves, they moved from their parents. So it was like, and in many research you find this opinion that Erasmus program is like the way between childhood and adulthood, okay? Because you have to rely only on yourself in different, strange environment. Self-knowledge, also part of cosmopolitan concept. By gaining new perspective, when you meet the other, different, the foreigner, you can learn something about yourself. This is very important. Yes, you really can learn more and see the world and see yourself or your environment in a different perspective. And that was very interesting and very optimistic, I think, for Polish young people who participated in the program, because what they mentioned, and this was the case for all interviews, that when they went abroad, they suddenly realized that Poland is not that bad. Okay, so this was their experience. That when they went there, they had this maybe, well, yes, they had this feeling that they come from. They didn't have this self-confidence, yes, self-confidence. But after this, they saw what the university work like and look like. They said, oh, you know, that our bureaucracy is not that bad. The level of education is really good. You teach us on a very good level, and even our roads are not that bad. Okay, so you needed the perspective to see a different environment, to realize and to learn something about yourself. They didn't perceive foreigners as very different. I think, and I just again maybe refer to what Professor Baumann said, that in Europe we are becoming, I think, very similar, because the students didn't have this fear of going into another place, and coming to what also they mention very often, that they feel like what I call the European equality, that they didn't see any difference between German students or Spanish students or Italian. If there were differences, there were like little things like, so social media and cosmopolitan attitude. I think that this cosmopolitan attitude is reinforced by social media. The democratic character of social media. If you look at Facebook, it looks the same for everyone. The layout, you just put different pictures. But I think for Erasmus students, they could take this feeling of European equality from Facebook, where you really look the same, okay, and you can't really signify your, for example, material status or your otherness in an obvious way. and that helped them to become more open and to feel more equal in reality. As a general statement, as a conclusion, it's easier to be a cosmopolitan, or I would say Europolitan, okay? Because I mean, we talk only about Europe, and I think it's mostly about Europolitan when you are a social media user. But I'm not sure whether it was a great discovery. I think. Okay, thank you, David.